When I heard Elon Musk was going to reinstate Donald Trump to Twitter, I've got to admit, I smiled. I've kind of missed it. It's been a bit boring without him and his own particular brand of raging perma-controversy. And there were wonderful moments like this. None of us will ever forget where we were when we read this and thought, what the hell is he talking about? We still have no idea what he was talking about. Nobody was safe from Trump's tweets. He had a go at London Mayor Sadiq Khan, calling him a terrible mayor and foolishly nasty. This was after Sadiq Khan had allowed a big, gigantic, grotesque balloon to fly over Parliament Square during Trump's state visit. Today, Sadiq Khan said this about the idea of Trump coming back to Twitter.
The amount of racial abuse I received on social media increased by 2,000%. 2,000% in Trump's first year. In the last year of him being president, once he was banned from Twitter, I received the least racial abuse of any time over 5 years.
Well, should he be allowed back? Joining me now is Conservative radio host Ben Ferguson and political activist and campaigner Gina Miller. Welcome to both of you. Ben, I'll come to you in a moment.
Good
Gina, lovely to see you. Thank you for coming to the thing. Jack Dorsey has defended Elon Musk, saying Trump should come back. He said he does agree, but he had got some exceptions, he said, in terms of behaviour, spam, network manipulation, illegal behaviour. But generally, he said, permanent bans are a failure of ours and don't work. And he said that it was a business decision and they shouldn't make business decisions about freedom of speech.
I have to say I agree with him because, one of the things that Elon Musk said was that he is a free speech absolutist. Well, that means he's black and white. And actually, life is shades of grey. So there's quite worrying that he said that, and he's going to be, if the deal goes through, in charge of Twitter. But I think it's free speech is different from inciting violence or fueling hatred or, the integrity of an electoral system. But saying someone, abusing someone and disagreeing with them or being harsh on them, you have every right to say that.
Right. I mean, I thought
Sadiq
Khan getting racist abuse because Donald Trump criticised him on Twitter. I didn't see Trump.
I don't see how you can make that connection.
Well, I thought it was a bit spurious because I didn't see Donald Trump encouraging people to be racist about Sadiq Khan. He was criticising him. He's got 80 million followers, including a lot of idiots, clearly, who thought it was OK to racially abuse him. Ben Ferguson, the argument against bringing Donald Trump back is that he incited violence on January the 6th at the Capitol, and that was why he got banned. That was the reason Twitter had at the time. I've got to say that when you think that Vladimir Putin, the supreme Iran leader, and the Taliban chiefs are all still on Twitter, it seems a ridiculous moment that the President of the United States is not there.
Yeah, it was their excuse. They were looking for an excuse to silence what many would argue is the most powerful man on Twitter at the time, Donald Trump, and that was their excuse. They were waiting for an opportunity. And you notice within a couple of hours, everything had banned him, right, from social media. Facebook jumped on there. Sites that allow you to sell goods even banned him because they hated Donald Trump. And if you look at Twitter and you look at their big problem now, it's even when they say that he should come back under certain guidelines, those own guidelines still don't apply to Vladimir Putin, to ISIS leaders, to al-Qaeda, the Ayatollah in Iran. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of people. You even had someone last week that threatened Supreme Court justices by giving out their addresses and say, you will not feel safe until you are dead in the ground. And they didn't even suspend that Twitter account. So the idea that Twitter is out there going, oh, we're gonna have law and order here is absurd. And they should allow people to come back. And if you don't like what they say, then fine. You as a user have the option to never look at Donald Trump's tweets again.
I mean, that's the point I would say, is that, with free speech, people sometimes get it wrong, I think, what free speech is. You don't have to listen to it. You can block people on Twitter. I do that a lot if they're just really horrendously abusive.
I think at the moment, with this whole conversation, which is actually lots of shades of grey, is that we're looking at the medium, not the message. Because actually, there are lots of... If you spray-painted graffiti, which incited violence, then that's illegal. Just because you're doing it on social media, it should be the same rules. So the rules should not be applied to the medium, it's the message.
Would you ban Trump?
I would...
Would you extend the ban, in other words, not bring him back?
Well, I think it wasn't a life ban, but I think I would look at it and see that there were times when he incited hatred and he did fuel insurgents and he did cause incite violence. And those are things that are illegal in states in America. Not all, not freedom of speech.
So is the line for you?
Well, but no, freedom of speech is interesting because in the US, under the First Amendment of the Constitution, there is actually no legislation for hate speech as we do in most Western countries.
So territories, different countries,
they
have different
do
rules.
differ very much.
And Twitter's
so.
a global platform which creates its own
Piers,
problems.
It has huge problems there, but not only that, you've got this, you have to apply whatever the rule is consistently across everyone. And also, you have to not just make this about celebrities or politicizing everything, because actually there are real problems with pornography, with self-harm, with lots of other things that are happening on this platform.
So, Ben Ferguson, I mean, my issue with it
but
is...
that's not a free speech issue.
Well, Ben, I want to come to...
Let
me put this to you, Ben. I mean, I had a case on Instagram where some vile yob in this country, in the UK, posted a death threat specific to me and one of my sons on his Instagram page in public. It's going through the legal process now. It's taken 16 months, I have to say, and there's still been no charging decision. But I was absolutely incensed that someone would target one of my kids like that with a genuinely horrible death threat. And I've decided to pursue it. That, to me, there is a line. And I think we do know where a lot of these lines are.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I think that's common sense. But this idea that Twitter should have rules like someone's a kindergarten or first grade teacher and we're going to put you in timeout in the corner because you say something that we just don't like, or you have an opinion that we just don't like, is never going to work. And I think that's what Dorsey even understood now. Yes, you can have rules that you can't threaten to kill somebody, for example, as you just described. I've dealt with death threats before as well. And when you deal with it, when it comes after your family, it is very personal. And the fact that it takes so long to get them taken down, when you report them, but they will go after people for political speech, is where there is a clear, as he put it, black and white. There is not a gray area here. You either have a platform that's in favor of free speech, and you can have rules like no death threats, right? But this idea that Donald Trump is banned, but Vladimir Putin and ISIS and al-Qaeda leaders still have their Twitter accounts, tells you that this was about targeting him politically. It was not about safety. It was about shutting up a conservative.
Yeah, it's definitely been a bias against conservative right in terms of who gets deplatformed. And it even went to the extent where the New York Post had their own account on Twitter, deplatformed because they had a genuinely true story about a laptop belonging to the president's son. It was ridiculous.
I think there is too much of this is being made political football. That's absolutely true, because there are real crimes happening on social media platforms. As you said, by the way, in your case, maybe you should quote my precedent, because actually the same thing happened with me, and I did get someone sent to jail for exactly that, threatening to kill me and children, etc. So, you know, those sorts of things, those are black and white. I absolutely agree with that. But expressing dislike or prejudice that is free speech. Inciting violence and actually fueling hate and destabilizing democracy. Now, those, to me, are also black and white. And that's what I think Trump should have been banned for, not for having views that we don't agree with.
But you wouldn't necessarily give him a lifetime.
So you do believe that Trump should be banned?
Not for a lifetime. I think, you know, what we should do, maybe a two-strike rule.
So how long are you going to put him in timeout?
All right, final point, Ben.
This is where you lose me. You just said that you would ban Trump. So my question is, for how long? And would you ban him right before an election and use that to your advantage? Would you wait for it right before a midterm election or a prime minister or any type of election in the world, and then you let people politically go in and silence someone that they want to shut up? That's the problem. If you do it the way you're describing it, it will be used to undermine freedom and democracy and election results.
When you say
it will be
something
there to
that breaks
undermine
the law.
people like the Hunter Biden story.
No,
I think there is.
He didn't break the law.
The line about. I mean, the argument with Trump is, did he actually break the law by inciting the riots at the Capitol?
No, he didn't.
Well, but there is an argument about that. Some people think he did. Some people think he didn't. It's still going through courts. We'll find out eventually what the conclusion is on all that. But it's a very interesting debate. I don't think there are easy answers. I'm actually glad Elon Musk is the one to tackle them, because he has a massive brain. And I think these need a massive brain. A bit like you, Ben Ferguson. and certainly like you, Gina Miller.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much to two massive brains.